Yeah, I can hear you now. But it keeps going out, man.
We are here to try and intervene.
We hear the arrival of the ANC Deputy Chief Whip, Ms. Doris Lakude. She's saying that they are trying to come here to address them. Two wrongs don't make it right. And they are saying, she's saying that they understand their frustrations, but they need to sort these issues out.
You don't know whether those committees are dealing with your issues somehow.
She's been booed by the crowd after saying that they should not disrupt these committees because the workers don't know if they are addressing their plight. And the workers are simply not buying that argument and they're booing her a bit.
Allow me an opportunity to negotiate for the release of your members.
And she's also saying that she will be trying to negotiate for the release of the striking workers that have been arrested by the police so far. And she's pleading for calm as she begins to negotiate with the police for the release of those workers. Of course, we are seeing a lot of political leaders from the various parties. I see the leader of the official opposition, Mr. Musi Maimane, also trying to catch a glimpse or see what's happening in this precinct of Parliament.
Those are being dealt with. I'm not here. I don't have the information. I came out of my meeting.
And the ANC Deputy Chief Whip, Doris Lakude, is still continuing addressing the workers, saying that she doesn't have the necessary information about the grievances of these workers. Of course, we know that there is a sitting this afternoon, and suppose the MPs were en route to that sitting. Some of them are still milling around this precinct. Of course, Mr. Good is saying that the situation shouldn't be getting out of hand. Just appealing for calm. Again, the workers are breaking in song. Still energetic because they've been at it for the entire morning, going around all the buildings of Parliament and stopping some of the committee meetings that had been sitting. They're saying that that's the only option of having to bring the management to the table for negotiations. Of course, the police have retreated now, standing on two sides of this precinct as the Deputy Chief Whip of the ANC begins negotiations with the police for the release of striking workers that have been arrested so far. And the workers are patiently waiting for the outcome of those negotiations, and just standing their ground right in front of the precinct of Parliament. As I've said earlier, the cops are still in the precinct, but they're keeping a distance as negotiations between some of the leadership of the police ensue with the ANC Deputy Chief Whip, Ms. Doris Zabude. She's trying to negotiate for the release of some of the people that have been arrested by the police earlier. Of course, I can see a couple of them that are limping, as there were scuffles between the police and the workers a bit earlier. I guess maybe some of them have sprained their ankles. I saw one lady was limping with some form of protection on her ankles. I also see that what appears to be some form of paramedics from Parliament, at least those three ladies in front of us with the reflector jackets. Well, political leaders have also taken interest in what's happening here. It's not quite a usual scene that we know, as we've always heard that this is a place where there is supposed to be some level of honor and dignity, as this is the highest level of governance in terms of making legislation. Some of the people that I see in the precinct is the leader of the official opposition, Mr. Musi Maimane. I also saw earlier the leader of the ACDP, Reverend Kenneth Meshwe. Several leaders from the various political parties. I also saw earlier the leader, the chief whip of the economic freedom fighters, Mr. Floyd Chibambu. Many of them just staying here, monitoring the situation. I do suspect that if the House sitting that is sitting in the National Assembly does go ahead this afternoon, perhaps there may be some reflection on what we are seeing here inside the precinct of Parliament. These are live visuals coming to you from Cape Town. At least for now, we seem to have restored a bit of calm. After earlier, we saw several stun grenades that were hurled at these striking workers to try and disperse them. Now, for those who perhaps maybe may not know, the reason why the police are trying to disperse these workers is that Parliament of the Republic of South Africa sought an interdict back in 2010 which prohibits the workers from striking within the precinct of Parliament, and that 5-year-old interdict is still applicable even today and going forward. But the workers have been defiant in responding to the actions of the police, and they are saying that because they are workers here in Parliament, therefore they have no obligation, or they don't see a need of leaving their work of employment, and therefore they are going anywhere. They still want their grievances to be, heard and dealt with by the management of the institution. Some of those grievances include that they want to be consulted about the new vetting process that has been started by Parliament a few weeks ago. They are saying that there's not been enough consultation with regards to that process. The other issue that they want Parliament to look into is to actually review the pension system of Parliament, because they are saying that perhaps some of the workers that have been here for over 30 years, they actually go home with very little to look after them when they do retire. The other issue that is a point of contention is the manner in which the performance bonus is going to be calculated for the workers, and the difference of opinion there is that the workers say that that performance bonus should be based on their 12-month salary or package, while on the other hand Parliament insists that an agreement that is in place, which was signed earlier this year, says that that performance bonus must be calculated based on a monthly salary of a worker. So the workers are in dispute of some of the issues that have been raised by Parliament. Well, and as well as on the other side is that Parliament has been saying all along that the workers are in contravention of these agreements and they have no obligation or they have no intention of heeding to their demands because these agreements are valid up until 2017. These are the issues that have been raised by the workers, and they are saying if they are not dealt with adequately to their satisfaction, these kinds of scenes are going to be a daily feature here in this precinct of Parliament, as well as in other areas where they are supposed to take Parliament to the people. I see a little bit of activity on the other side, police trying to address the workers. The police are pleading with members of the media and those people who are not part of this protest to please move away from the crowd. It would appear that they will now again continue to effect the interdict that we talked about a little bit earlier of dispersing these workers. And I see some of the leaders of the Nehau, they're telling their members to sit down on the floor of the precinct, even though the police are instructing them to disperse. Well, earlier on, again, we did see a similar moment where they were given 5 minutes to disperse, and when it was effected, the workers just remained defiant. Well, on the other side of the precinct, I see a group of police who are gathering in a group of about 5, still in discussion with some of the MPs. I can see the UDM MP, Mr. Ngabayomzi Kwankwa, still trying to plead with the police and negotiate with them as the workers